So in this slide, we will be covering themes and apps. So basically, themes and apps deals with how you control what the interface looks and feels like, and how you organize what different teams see when they log in. Uh, on the left side, we have themes, and on the right side, we have apps and navigation feature. So under themes, there are different features which Salesforce provides us. We will cover it one by one. Likewise, for app and navigation, there are different features which are provided by the Salesforce. So, first off, on the left, we have themes. In Lightning Experience, you can customize the visual appearance of your org through setup under the themes and branding. So theme is the central tool. From there, you can set your brand color, upload a logo, and choose a background image or color for the app pages. Then comes the default brand color. So it is the most impactful setting, and it flows through the entire Lightning interface, changing the color of the top navigation bar, active tabs, buttons, and selected states, so user immediately see your company's branding rather than the Salesforce default blue. Then comes the custom logo, which lets you upload a company or client logo, which appears in the top left corner of the navigation bar. Then comes the page background, which lets you set a custom wallpaper style image or a solid color behind the main content area. So, which is a very subtle but effective touch for white labeling and all. And then comes the Lightning App Builder, which is the most important feature. It's a drag and drop editor which lets admins customize the layout of home pages, record page, and app pages without writing any code. You can also add, remove, and rearrange standard and custom Lightning components of any object. This was all about the themes. Next, we have apps and navigation. So for the apps and navigation in Salesforce, an app is essentially a container which groups together a set of tabs, objects, or pages for a particular team or a business function. So think of it as a navigation experience for a specific group of users. So you need to create and manage apps through the app manager, which is available in the setup. And the app manager lets you build Lightning apps and manage the and it also lets you manage the old Salesforce Classic apps. So when you configure an app, you need to choose the navbar items also. So these are the tabs at the top of the screen, and they can point to standard or custom objects, list view, reports, dashboard, visual force pages, or custom Lightning pages. So that was all about the app manager and navbar items. Then comes the utility bar. So utility bar is a pinned tray at the bottom of the screen, which gives user like quick access to tools like notes, recent item, macros, or any custom components without leaving the page they are on. And finally, the app assignment controls, like who sees which app. So this is particularly managed by app assignments. Uh, like you assign apps to profiles. So sales rep see the sales app, service agent see the service app, and admin see the admin app. So each user only sees the apps their profile allows, and when they log in and when they land on their default assigned app page. I will go through all these features in the Salesforce org and show you how it works. But before that, there is a tip at the bottom of this slide, which is a practical recommendation every admin should follow, which is to create separate apps for sales, service, and admin teams. at minimum, so that each app should contain only the tabs that the team actually uses. So this is essential as this reduces the clutter and speeds up the navigation and makes the platform feel purpose built for each group rather than like a generic system. So this was all about the themes and apps. We'll check these features in the Salesforce org now. Let me navigate to Salesforce org. Okay. So the first feature which we saw was so we will cover themes first. Okay. So to change the theme of a organization, you need to go to setup. In setup, you need to search for themes and branding. As you can see, there are multiple themes which are already present here. So for instance, this is a new register, a new org which I have created. So I will do one thing. I will create a new theme for my org. I will click on new theme. Uh, on the theme page, I can see the theme details where I need to provide the theme name. I will provide Salesforce Unlocked. API name will auto-populate. And the next topic was the default brand color. So as you can see in the themes, there is a branding which is the most impactful setting. As we said, it determines the color for navigation bar, active tabs, buttons, etc. So Salesforce has a default blue setting. I will change it to, let's say, green. You can check this color picker as well to select the color. So now you can see once I selected a color, it will create a set of color palette for your branding color. Then there are more settings like dark mode, etc., which is for beta version. The next topic which we covered was the custom logo. So to check the custom logo for your org, you need to click on this. I will select a logo which I already have. I will save this. It will upload, and this logo will be appear in instead of the Salesforce logo. Then there is a page background for group banner, for default profile banner. So you can also change that. For now, I will leave it as is, and I will save the record. Okay, I believe we have already created a theme for this. I will do it as Salesforce V2. Okay, now that my theme is saved, I have two options, which is to activate or to do a preview. So I will. So it is the best practice to do a preview first before activating any theme bit because it will impact the existing UI. So now we are in a theme preview where you can see the theme branding color has now turned to green, and you can also see the company logo has also changed from a Salesforce Cloud to the channel logo. So this is the so now we are in the preview mode. So right now I can end this preview and I'll do one thing. I'll activate this theme. So now that our theme is activated, I will redirect it to my sales app. You can check there is a difference in color. The branding for the default branding has changed from blue to green, and the company logo is also updated. So this was all about the themes. Okay, so the next feature which we will be checking is the Lightning App Builder. So Lightning App Builder is basically used to create the Lightning app pages. It is available from setup. So in setup, you have to type Lightning App Builder. Once you are on the Lightning App Builder page, you have an option to create a new Lightning page. So we'll click on new. Uh, on creating the new Lightning page, there are several options available, like what type of page you want to create. If it's a simple app page, we can select app page. If it's a home page, which is for customizing the default landing page for the user. Then there is record page, which is used for objects uh, and its records. So for this demo, we will be covering the app page. I'll select app page and click on next. We need to provide name for our app page. So I will go ahead and provide Salesforce Unlocked. So this will be our Lightning app page name. In the next screen, you can see the sections like the region wise layout available for our Lightning app page. So there are several options available in the list. For now, I will select the first option, header with side left sidebar, and click on done. Now I am in Lightning App Builder. So you can see on the left side there is a component list for both standard and custom components. So admins and developers can drag and drop the components from the component list onto this Lightning app page. And on the right side, you can see the page properties where the page label, API name, page type, template, everything is present. On bottom, you can see the actions. So these are basically the quick actions or available for Lightning record page. So we will go ahead and select these three actions and click on OK. I will do a banner message for our Lightning record page. For this, I will drag a standard rich text component onto this page. I'll go ahead and type my message for our banner. So our banner is ready. I will go ahead and activate this page. It will ask me the name of the page and page activation. For now, I will keep it activate for all user and click on save. So this setting is for the mobile navigation tab. So right now we don't need this setting, so I will skip and save the page. As you can see, we can see the message activation successful. We can exit from the Lightning app builder. So when we created this Lightning page, on creation of this Lightning page, a Lightning page custom tab also got created. So right now we don't see the Lightning Page tab, but once I refresh this, we can see that a new tab is also created with the same Lightning Page name. So this was all about the Lightning app page. Now we will cover Lightning App Manager. So apps are basically the collection of tabs and uh, related record pages, home pages, etc. So I will go on the App Manager from the setup. Once you are on the Lightning Experience App Manager, you can see there are two options: new Lightning app and a new external client app. So for this demo, we will go ahead and click on the new Lightning app. The external client app is something which is an advanced feature of Salesforce. It's for it's a replacement for connected apps. We will deep dive into this further, but for now, we will go ahead and click on the new app page. It asks me the detail for the new Lightning app, so I will go ahead and provide a name for my application. The developer name will pre-populate. On the app branding, you can also upload the logo for your application. So I will go ahead and upload a logo. And the primary color that is for branding, you can keep it as is. So when you go on the app launcher preview, your application will look something like this. So I will go ahead and click on the next page. So on the new Lightning app, there are options for navigation style, supported form factors. So supported form factor is pretty much simple. Whether if this application is used for desktop or mobile app, the default is set as is. The navigation style is something which is basically defines how navigation will work in your application. So there is console and standard navigation. The difference is in standard navigation, when you when the user clicks on any record, it will open that record in a new tab. But in console navigation, when user clicks on the record, it will open the records in the same tab. So this is the difference. For now, I will keep it as standard navigation. In the setup experience, you can see there are three options. So the default one which is selected, we will keep it as is. And there are other options as well, but we will click on next. In this section, you can see the utility items. So utility item is basically available on the utility bar, which is the footer for our custom application. So I will go ahead and add one utility item. In utility, you can add the standard and uh, custom components as well. So for this demo, I will add one standard component to do list. You can set the properties of the selected utility item, and you can also arrange the alignment for it. I will keep it as default and click on next. The next is the available navigation items which we have. So in the available items, we can have a set of custom tabs, standard tabs, and the Lightning Page tab. So for this demo, I will select one standard tab, accounts, and one custom Lightning Page tab, which we have already created, called Salesforce Unlocked for our Lightning Page. So I will go ahead and click on next. On the next screen, you can see it asks for the user profile. So basically, user profiles specify like which users can access this app. So the you need to specify the profiles. So for this demo, I will select the system admin, which means only the users with system admin profile will be able to access this app. Then I will click on save and finish. You can see we are redirected back to this list view for Lightning apps on the list, we can see our application is now created and active. So to check this application, you need to go on the app launcher and search for the application. So this is the application which we have created. It looks like this in the Lightning app preview. We will click on this. Once redirected to the application, you can see the name of the application at the top. Also, you can see the tabs which we have added into this application, which is account and the custom app. You can also see the utility item which we added, which is the to-do list utility. On going to the Lightning app page, you can see the changes we have done for the Lightning app page. That is, we added three new actions on the page. Also, we added a rich text standard component with a banner message. So in this way, developers and admins can configure the application, its navigation, utility items, custom actions, etc. So I hope this is helpful.
Thanks for watching Salesforce Unlocked. If you found this helpful, stay tuned for more Salesforce tips and tutorials. See you in the next video.